Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I would like to continue my little series on labor and employment law in Europe for dummies. Today I would like to concentrate on our very different labor relations system in Europe compared to the US. As you probably know, we have a two-level system. We have a level where the unions play a role, and then we have a different second employee representation level that we call works councils level. Let's start with the union level. Typically, unions in Europe are organized by industry branch, and almost consequently, most collective bargaining agreements are concluded for an industry sector. So we don't have single employer bargaining. Most employers are organized in employers association, reflecting the industry branch as well. Unions represent members only, but the unionization rate is not as decisive as in the US. The unionization rate in Europe is approximately at 25%. It is declining as everywhere in the world. But we have great differences. We have countries such as France, where the unionization rate is almost at 8%. On the other hand, we have the Nordic countries, where the unionization rate is still above 60%. This is due to cultural reasons, and in some Nordic countries, the unemployment benefit system is administered by the unions. That speaks for an incentive to become a union member. And we also have the CEE countries. They are approximately at the US level. Due to their history, unions are still being seen as part of the old socialist government. And even in countries like Poland, where, as you probably know, the union Solidarność helped to overcome the old regime, the unionization rate is at 12%. So collective bargaining agreements are typically concluded regarding all material terms and conditions. So in most countries, they go beyond the scope of pay and working time. CBAs in Europe are concluded for a specific term and renegotiated at the end of the term with the same union that has been sitting at the table the term before. So no certification process is needed as in the US. What is most important is to understand that the decisive key figure is the so-called coverage rate, which means how many percent of employees are subject to a collective bargaining agreement. Across Europe, we're speaking about 65%, and this is due to the high rate of organization among employers on the one hand. It's also due to some support from governments who have decided that collective bargaining agreements are declared generally applicable in certain sectors. So this gives you a general overview on unions and collective bargaining agreements. We do have a second level that we call works councils. They are, at least in continental Europe, almost mandatory in most countries, at least as of a certain size of the workforce in the company or on site. So they represent all employees, not only members of a site or a company, and they typically conclude agreements with the employer for daily and more or less operational matters of the site. So typically the topics for a collective bargaining agreement does not interfere with the topics that a works council has to deal with. It depends on the country, however, whether a union and a works council are consisting of the same representatives. We call it single or dual channel systems. Italy, for example, is an example for a single channel system. Germany and Austria have more or less independent works council. It depends more on the individual member whether a union has a say in the works council or not. This concludes my remarks for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Stay tuned and see you soon again. Thank you very much.